into another edition of the 2024 MLB Draft Spotlight Show, and we're working with Wake Forest again. I love working with these Wake boys. They know what they're doing. Chase Burns is in the house. Chase, I don't know if you remember this. You and I last spoke in November of 2020. It has been a very long time, my friend. A lot has changed. How are you, man? How's the transition to Wake Forest gone for you?
Uh, Doing great. Thank you for having me on here. It's an awesome opportunity. Yeah, Wake Forest has been great. It's a lot different than Knoxville, but all things good.
Okay, so I like to use the first couple of minutes of this show every week. I want you to introduce yourself to the viewers, to the listeners, man. Like, who is Chase Burns? I think a lot of people want to know kind of like how you tick and what some of your passions are off the field.
Yeah, I mean, name's Chase Burns from Hendersonville, Tennessee. Uh, Things I like to do off the field. Big video game guy. I got Xbox and a PlayStation. Love Call of Duty. Big into animals, stuff like that. I love posting them every day. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
I wanted to ask you about that because I've followed you on Instagram for a couple of years now, and I think it's one of the most fascinating things, the animal posts and just the animal kingdom sort of thing that you post. Where does that come from, man? Like where did your love for animals and I guess your draw to them come from?
Yeah, it first started where I would just post pandas because pandas are my favorite animal. But then I just started getting as soon as you start posting stuff or start sending stuff, the phone knows what you like. So I just started getting, more animals, and I was like, hey, I should just start posting them on my story, and then people would swipe up and laughing emojis or like this is hilarious. So I just kept going, and it's just been a thing for me now.
So I have to ask, I think there's an animalistic part of being a pitcher, right? You're the guy. I'm curious, is there an animal that you kind of compare yourself to on the mound? Like, do you have a spirit animal, if you will?
Uh, I mean, my favorite animal is a panda, but I'm not really like a panda on the mound. I don't really know what animal I could say. Just um, maybe an animal with some good focus, maybe like a shark or something.
I dig that. Okay, so you make the move from Knoxville, you go to Wake Forest, you're part of that pitching lab. I gotta ask, like in these first 6, 8 months with the team, I guess it's only been like 5 or 6 months with the team. What's been your biggest takeaway from the pitching lab? What's been that thing that you've taken away that will make you grow most?
Yeah, just realizing all the resources that we have. They sat down with me and I had an assessment about, my movement and my throwing. It was basically like you don't really move that well. Um, so, that kind of stuck with me. And so I started, basically going in there and trying to move better and work on flexibility. The biggest thing for me was being able to rotate my back foot. I'd always been a very pushy pitcher just because I'm pretty athletic, and I played basketball growing up, so it had worked. But now with that transition to rotating the back leg, just everything comes together, and the command goes up, the quality of pitches, and just a lot of different things come together for me. So.
So it sounds like the strike zone command, your general control, maybe your stamina in games will improve. Have you seen anything tick up in the arsenal? Because we saw you hit 102 last year. I'm wondering what the expectation should be for 2024.
Yeah, definitely velo's gone up. I've already hit 102 a couple times this fall, so it's really cool to see. Quality of the fastball has gone up. I'm getting behind it better. The VB has gone up from like maybe the top at Tennessee was 18.7. I think right now my highest is 26 inches of vert. So yeah, it's really cool to see the development piece. And so now with the different secondary pitches, the curveball is getting really good. The slider has gone a tick up. The changeup will be in use this year. So yeah, it's really cool to just look back and see how much I've grown. I've got videos from me when I first started throwing in the lab and from videos now. So it's really cool to see that.
You hit 100, you're hitting 102 and flirting with 26 vert. That's a rocket ship.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah, you couple that with 92-mile-an-hour sliders, and I don't really know if anybody in the conference is going to have much of a chance. So it sounds like you have really kind of dug into the numbers. Has that always been a big part of your game? You were a blue chip pedigree guy going back to high school. When did you really start to appreciate the data side of pitching?
Yeah, I kind of always flirted with it a little bit in high school. I kind of had like a Rapsodo machine that, the facility that I used, but I really got to see it, like how much it can help you this year. I mean, everybody has different pitches and different arsenals, and the technology actually gets you to, learn how your pitches should be used and what you can use to your advantage. So it's been a huge thing, and technology is going to take over the game of baseball. I believe it, and it's going to help a lot, really.
Hey man, so we're about 3 weeks out from opening day. I'm curious, as you've made all of this work in your development over the last several months, what's next for Chase Burns? Like, what's the next item on the checklist for you to improve?
Just going out there and repetition. I mean, last year being a starter for a little bit and then going into the bullpen, just that repetition of being a starter, being able to turn over lineups, being able to, make in-game adjustments has been the biggest thing for me, which I think I've been doing a great job of. You're not going to feel always 100% each start. So being able to go out there and, work with what you got that day and just getting into that competitive mindset, being able to go out there and beat that other starter. So that's going to be a huge thing for me.
Yeah, man. I mean, you obviously had a ton of talent surrounding you at Tennessee, but you come to Wake Forest now. You got Josh, you got Michael, you got Nick and Seaver among so many other guys. What has that been like, kind of surrounding yourself with that talent and challenging yourself around that talent?
Yeah, this team's super competitive. I think that's the biggest thing for me growing. I love learning from different guys like Josh and Michael. And then, we've been doing live AB, so being able to compete with guys like Seaver King and Nick Kurtz, it just tells you what our team is going to be like this year. Very competitive team with but that's all we are. I mean, we're just sort of one big family, and I'm excited to see what we do this year.
Who's more competitive, you or Roland?
Uh, Me.
That's high praise. That's high praise. All right, Chase. So you mentioned that you learned a lot from a super challenging atmosphere and challenging organization program over there. What's the goal for Chase Burns in 2024, and what's the goal for Wake Forest in 2024?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is to win a national championship. That's what everybody wants to do, right? So, we're just gonna take it step by step, day by day. And then the biggest goal for me, it doesn't really matter. I just want to get this team to Omaha, and I think that the individual goals will come.
Okay, so I got two more questions for you, and then we'll jump into a couple of kind of wackier questions out of left field. What's the most adversity that you have faced in your let's call it 3 years now since your senior year of high school? What's that moment where it was like you got to battle to grind to get through this?
I think it would be last year being in that reliever role. I would be lying if I said it wasn't hard. It was very hard going into that role, um, but it was the greatest thing for me as a person, as a man, and as a baseball player to face that adversity and learn from it. So, um, you get ups and downs in baseball, and I feel like I've been able to handle the ups. But last year really helped me handle the downs, and you're gonna you're gonna face adversity all your life, and even with baseball. So I hope that I've learned from both sides, and that it'll help me continue to develop down the road.
I actually forgot to ask you this question earlier, but I'm curious. Back in 21, for those that don't know, kind of where you're coming from, you, for all intents and purposes, pull yourself out of that draft as a high schooler, but you're still drafted in the later rounds by the San Diego Padres. I'm just curious, were you able to take anything away from that experience or getting drafted by the Padres? Like, what benefit did that provide you?
Yeah, it kind of gave me a big confidence boost. The draft is as an 18-year-old high schooler, it's a big process and it's a very nervous one. So once I decided to pull my name out and go to Tennessee and then get some recognition from the San Diego Padres, it's a huge confidence booster. Um, I can't thank them enough for being able to take a pick out for me and kind of give me like a hey, we're watching you, we're seeing what you do, and it's kind of like a respect thing. So I really appreciate what they've done.
All right, man. I'll leave you with these final two questions. I end every single show this way. Last question. Let's say that you run back out to the mound for the next 20 years, right? You're 40 years old. You're still running out to the mound in the big leagues. What's your walk-up song? And it's not what your walks up a walk-up song is now, but you only get one walk-up song for the rest of your career. You can never change it. What are you rolling with?
Wow, that's a hard question. Um, I'll go with Since Six with oh my god, I forgot his name, Key Glock. So I'll go with that. Maybe I'll still be rocking to that when I'm 40. So
That's not a track I know. I feel like I'm usually pretty well versed into those tracks, but that's not one I know. Run This Town by Rihanna gets like 7 or 8 votes every year. So um
that's funny.
Chase,
Good.
last question, man. You've played in a lot of different places, a lot of national teams, summer leagues. Um, who's the one guy in all those teams that you've played with since you started your collegiate career? No shot you're letting him date your sister.
Oh man. It could be anybody.
It
Anybody.
can be absolutely anybody, just from the collegiate career, though.
Okay. Grant Cherry from Tennessee. He was one of my good buddies from Tennessee. I would never let him date my sister.
I dig it. Chase, I'm excited to see, man, what you're going to bring to Wake Forest this year. The most dominant pitching staff in the country, and the sky is the limit for you, my friend. Thank you for joining me today, and good luck this year.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.